to be, especially tonight. We want to say welcome to Real Moms Boutique. If this is your first time joining, my name is Teresa.
And my name is Joyce.
And we're both nurses, and our background is maternal child. So that's why we're excited tonight, because we have some really cool things that we're going to show, and as well as do a little demonstration for some education. So while we're getting started, come on in and say hi to us. We love for you to put a comment in the chat. Ask us questions.
Let us know where you're tuning in from.
Yes, and maybe an emoji. We love hearts particularly, but we'll take a thumbs up. And even if you're watching the replay and you're seeing us crazy ladies here just loving what we're doing, just leave us a comment. We love to see them. We read every one of them. We'd love to answer your questions. So even if you have a question you don't want to put in a comment, give us a little thumbs up or say that I left you a comment, and just inbox us or on our website at realmomsboutique.com. We do have a form that you can ask questions, and we can get to you back privately through your email as well. If you've never shopped with us before, what we do is we show the products. Then you'll head over to realmomsboutique.com, and that's where you're going to see the products. Today we will put a link for each one of these items in our Facebook Live, so you can just click on it and go to it. But otherwise, you go to realmomsboutique.com, log in. When you log in, you'll see all kinds of ways to pay. We have pretty much everything that you want, even Afterpay, so you can pay
installments if you'd like.
Yeah, like with no interest for 3 months.
So, and also we provide free shipping for anything that you purchase over $100. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if it's less than $100, then we offer discounted rates for flat fee shipping. So I know shipping costs have kind of increased over the past few years, and we try to offset as much as we can towards you. So it just depends on when you're logging in.
And then there's some months that, you said, we do offer free on just random months. Mm-hmm. We're like, let's give free shipping. Yeah. So
we appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
Tuning in and just joining us.
And speaking of shipping, her and I, we do our best, and our helper, to get to the post office or UPS the same day or the very next day, because we want you to get your products so you can start using them and loving them the way that we love them. However, tonight we don't use these products the way that you may, but normally that's what we always try to do.
Right, exactly.
Today's Tuesday, so we really dedicate our lives for moms with a bump or that have recently delivered. And on Thursdays
are meant for all moms or all women for caring for yourself. Everybody deserves a little bit of self-care, and Thursday's a perfect time for it because you've had kind of already a rough week and you're hopefully looking for the weekend. Retail therapy, all kinds of great products to help you feel beautiful and your best self.
And then speaking of the weekend, Saturday is our Super Sale Saturday, so every product we show is on sale. So especially on those days, we tend to sell out super fast, so you'd want to get your products sooner. A lot of our products that we show throughout the week too, during our lives, they will sell out. So if you want something, log in and realmomsboutique.com and get it while it's still there, because a lot of our items we can't restock. So before we get going,
we usually start our lives with a quote.
Mm-hmm. And today's quote is, "You are strong, you are beautiful, you are creating life."
Yeah.
That is true, right? You are strong. I mean, any mom is a strong person. And what we're going to talk about today is a precursor to breastfeeding, which any mom that breastfeeds or gives breast milk is a strong mom.
It's your superpower. Yes, we call it your superpower as a mom.
It's something that dads can't produce.
Right.
Only moms produce this milk, and
it's human milk.
Yes.
Number one, it's
human
not
milk.
Formula from either a plant or an animal. It's something that you create for your own baby.
Yeah, and human milk is the perfect milk. It's made perfectly for your baby to digest. And so that's why it's so important. And what we're going to talk about today is prenatal hand expression, also known as colostrum harvesting. So it's not like a science, where you've got your harvesting cells in a petri dish, but we are collecting our colostrum so we have it on hand. And we want to talk about the importance of that for a bit.
Yeah, and colostrum is it's actually what we consider liquid gold.
Yeah, it's that Heinz milk, that first milk, and it is
It's
so
so enriched,
nutrient dense, powerful for your baby, and there's many reasons why your baby needs that
milk.
Yes, especially nowadays, more so than even before when we were.
Right. We're seeing a lot more women come in through their pregnancy with a little bit high risk conditions like
High blood pressure.
High blood pressure.
When you have high blood pressure, what happens, it makes your baby, one, small for gestational age, and you're on a medication called labetalol, and labetalol will cause your baby's blood sugar often to drop after birth. So you may not have your milk in, right when you deliver. It's very common not to. So this is why prenatal hand expression is so important, so you have that milk on hand. And we'll go through that.
And Teresa mentioned something about your baby smaller, and that's what we call small for gestation age. And a lot of times, just because your baby is a little bit smaller, we have to monitor the baby's not only temperature or their vital signs, but we're also paying attention to sugar, because your baby's going to be utilizing glucose, which is a form of energy for them, and that is readily available. And once they deplete that, because they're so small, they don't make enough, that milk is going to be super important so that your baby doesn't end up going into, perhaps a day or so in the NICU.
And another thing is a lot of moms now are gestational diabetic. And what happens then, your baby gets larger gestational age, and it's the opposite, where it needs more sugar, because when the baby's born, it drops its sugar because it's getting all that extra glucose from your gestational diabetes. So they have all this extra sugar. So when they are born, they need to keep going to keep their sugars up.
Because once they're cut from that umbilical cord, what happens is you're also cutting off their lifeline to that sugar that you've been nourishing them through your circulatory system to the baby.
Right.
So then the baby's sugar then is no longer having that source of sugar. It just plummets a lot of times.
Right. So that's another good reason.
Yeah, to make sure that you're prepared, especially if you have been diagnosed, I guess, with some of these conditions.
And so for those moms that really want to exclusively breastfeed, this is really important, because it's going to help stimulate your milk supply to create more milk as you're hand expressing. So the important thing is one, ask your provider first. Second, well, I would say number one, you cannot start this until you're 37 weeks gestational age. If you start hand expressing before, it can cause preterm contractions. Even as much as you want the baby out, as a NICU nurse, we don't want to see your baby in the NICU. There's too many risks involved. So we want your baby to grow at that healthy state. And so at 37 weeks, it's safe to say we can start prenatal hand expression. And so that is number one. Number two, you can always run this by your provider and say, hey, I'm going to do some hand expression to make sure that they're okay with it. Most of them now know about this, and so they're going to say, okay. So there's other risk involved, but for the sake of probably time and overload, we're going to just move into kind of going over our kits. And these are our colostrum hand expression kits. First, we'll talk about the design and what we have. We have it in leopard.
And then the other print option we have is like a buffalo check plaid, or it's not buffalo check, it's plaid.
And then we have like this cream off-white tan.
And then we have this black channel stitched bag as well. So.
And I think on the website we also have a gray. And I think what makes it nice, we'll just open it and show you. These are waterproof insulated here. So they're made,
here.
This is just paper. I'll take it out so you can see the inside. I'll throw that over there on the couch. But this is made from Itsy Bitsy. You can see inside, you can put a few bottles in here once you start having your breast milk, and so you can keep using it. And then after that, you can pack snacks for your toddler. You can pack a lunch for you if you have to go back to work. I mean, they're really handy, the bag itself. And one thing too is when you get your colostrum, and we're going to show you what's in this bag, you can bring your colostrum, put some ice in a baggie in here, and put your colostrum in here and take it to the hospital. So these bags work really good for that. So we're going to show you what's in the bag now.
Okay, so in the bag, you're going to open it and it's going to look something similar to this. And I'm going to start taking some of the items that we have out.
Yeah, so the first thing is we have designed from Real Mom's Boutique of the 5 steps to prenatal hand expression. It's going to take you step by step, and we'll go over that to show you the demo. And then on the back, it is a human milk storage guideline on how to store your, when you pump, you know, when you get your milk in, as well as your colostrum. So this is how to thaw it, leftover from feeding, freshly expressed. So it gives you all the times and how to do it on the back. Okay, and then we also have in this bag.
And this is from Kindred Braverly.
These are, it comes with 2 of these.
Breast kind of pillows in a way. The material that I'm holding right now is super soft.
They're removable too, so you can wash them, like if you get milk on them or whatever.
The insert is in here, and you can remove this to either heat or actually freeze.
For cool, and which for prenatal hand expression, you're gonna probably want the heat. Because you're gonna want to get that milk, and we'll show you how to get that milk down. But you can use these when you're breastfeeding as cool too, because you're gonna get engorged later after the baby is born. You will get
your first engorgement.
Yeah, and it's painful, so you're gonna want heat and ice. So these work great for that.
And then
it also comes with silicone colostrum collector pack. It's 6-pack, and this is from Haka. And you'll collect your drops of milk, your colostrum in here as you're expressing. And this is also a feeder, and you can freeze these. So they work for all. So it's a 6-pack, which is a 6-pack is pretty perfect to take to the hospital. You'll label these and have them dated and everything. And we're gonna show you how to do that.
Right.
So I'm gonna just move this so we can, we have a breast. Not a real breast. And we're just gonna kind of go over the steps to prenatal hand expression, kind of give a little demo.
And I'm just gonna place it on myself here.
Yeah, and so the first thing that she's gonna do is she's gonna make sure she's washed her hands, right? And gently massage her breast. Her hands or a warm towel, and you can just, or you can even do this in the shower when you're first starting.
Yeah, or let's say you're not in the shower and you want to heat these up, you can actually pre-warm your breasts and like maybe place it around your breast here. Most will probably be most comfortable around there. So,
but when you're doing your massaging, you want to massage
all the way back,
like
all the way back from your under your pits, basically, and then just kind of gently, not too much pressure, because then you're going to create some damage to the ducts that are existing there.
So just light massage,
like just press, just kind of like that, and then what you're going to do is kind of make sure that's warmed, and then you're going to go ahead and
so that will be step 1. And then step 2 is you're going to place your thumb and finger, and that's where she's going to use the breast, and you're going to make like a C.
Kind of like that.
So you see how her hand is like a C here, and it's about 1.5 inches away from the nipple, and that'll be step 2. And then step 3 is while you're pushing back towards your chest, you're going to bring your thumb and fingers together and then gently compress. So that'd be like step 3. So you'll compress, and then compress, and then step 4 is you're going to relax your fingers and then repeat. Press, compress, relax. Press, compress, relax. Press, compress, relax. So and then as you're doing that, you're doing your press, compress, relax. You're gonna have one of these Haka collections, and you'll undo the whole thing here, and it opens up, and you'll just put it under your nipple.
Press, compress, relax.
Press, compress, relax. And it will drop in here, and every drop
even if it's minuscule,
Yes.
you may not be able to store it at that point, but once you start seeing enough to be able to get a droplet into your little syringe, or a few droplets, it's still, that's liquid gold. It's something that your body has been producing since what, how many weeks? 10?
20 weeks,
20 weeks.
Your body starts to produce that colostrum, which is pretty amazing, really.
Right.
Your body starts to produce at 20 weeks.
Yeah.
And then at 37 weeks, you're ready to hand express.
Right.
And so you'll express in here, and like she said, at the beginning when you start, you're gonna just do this 5 minutes, 2 times a day.
Right, and
You may not see drops at the beginning.
And don't be discouraged.
No.
We don't want you to be discouraged. And again, you don't want to kind of compress too much on around that this area right here, because you can actually do damage. So again, it's just press, compress, relax, press, compress, relax. And again, it's not like press, compress. It's just
And once you start getting the drops, you can do this drops for 24 hours, and then you're going to need to freeze it. So even if it's just a little bit, freeze that.
Yeah.
It's very important. And then next time you're going to get more drops, you'll take another container, and as you're getting more drops, you'll fill these up. And you'll date the time and freeze it, and then when it's time and you're actually in labor, as soon as you know you're going to be committed and staying in labor, you'll be taking this. If you live close, I would recommend maybe
just have your husband or
partner or somebody
friend
bring in your colostrum when the baby's born, or right when you know you're pushing and it's time. Otherwise, you'll take this. You need to tell your nurse right away, because she needs to keep this in the freezer, because this is only good for 24 hours once you've thawed it. Yeah, so tell your nurse, and she needs to put it in the freezer.
Right.
But what's important about this is, like we said, you'll have that colostrum on hand. So if you want to exclusively breastfeed and your baby is one, and there are sometimes, even with, I'm just going to be real, sometimes there's some challenging births. You don't expect it. It's nothing that the doctor or the nurse did. It's birth itself can be traumatizing sometimes. It really is hard. Those babies are being squeezed through a small little canal, and their heads get squeezed. They get sometimes different avenues. You have to, sometimes the baby might be big and it might be positioned wrong, and the heart rate's going down, and the doctor has to put like a little vacuum device and take that baby out. And sometimes that can cause the baby to be sleepy afterwards, because they're like exhausted, and you're exhausted. So to have your milk is so important, because the nurse can feed it, or your partner. And this is really good too. Like if you want to take a nap, your partner usually sleeps a lot during labor for some reason. We've seen the dads.
Until you're ready to
push, and you're like, hey, wake up, it's time. And so they've already had their little siestas and their beauty rest. So now you get yours. And so you take this and you say, hey, honey, feed my baby. And so you have this here, and then this just pops open here, and you just give little drops to the baby. And sometimes when the baby is sleepy, if you start them with a few little drops here,
oh my gosh,
it stimulates them, and they're like, oh, that's good.
Well, and they can smell your breast milk. You're going to be the baby's going to play skin to skin. Once the baby's stable enough and you're doing okay, we're going to dry the baby on your chest, and guess what? Your baby's already making that connection with you and your smell, right?
We had a lactation nurse that I love and adore. She's like my favorite, and she would always say, your chest is like a restaurant. So you may not be hungry, but when you go into a restaurant, you're like, oh, that smells good. And instantly you just like, oh man, I want that. I want that food. That smells so good. And that's what the baby's like, you put it there and they're like, oh, what is that? And all of a sudden they're hungry.
Your baby's going to start smacking their lips. And it's one of those things that babies have that they first just develop, is that ability to suck and
smell. Their sense is amazing.
So they're going to smell your milk right away, even if it's just a drop, just to get them started, like what Teresa's saying. Because sometimes if, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Am I really supposed to be sucking, right? And actually, in utero, they're sucking.
Yeah, they suck. It's very relaxing for them. You'll see, and that's why sometimes your breast, they treat it like a pacifier almost.
Right.
Sorry. We're both choking up here, getting all excited over our breastfeeding. Yeah. But I do want to say one thing. If for some reason you start hand expressing at 37 weeks and you see no drops, don't be discouraged, because what it's doing, it's producing milk, and it's helping the supply and demand increase. So even if you don't take one drop to the hospital, you still have already, you need to be faithful. 5 minutes, 2 times a day. So when you first start, it's really good to do it in the shower, because you probably won't see drops, and that heat, sometimes you're like, oh, milk. So don't be discouraged if you don't bring a drop, because your milk will be more apt to come in if you've already started prenatal hand expression. And one last thing, and then we're gonna go. Colostrum, we said all the things for babies, but sometimes moms go through a lot during labor and their body gets stressed and their milk doesn't always come in, or it kind of stalls it because the stress of your body, and you might have lost blood or a lot of volume. When you lose blood and volume, you decrease your milk supply. So you want to have this milk on hand. We can't say it enough. 37 weeks gestation, prenatal hand expression. Let's tell you the price. This normally, the whole set with everything, normally sells for $90. We have it right now for $85. You can't beat it. It's a really good deal.
It's a pretty
You get your hand expression, a nice bag. You get the warming, you get 6 of the hawk
storage containers. You'll have 6 of these.
Yes. So that's what we wanted to share with you. I know it was a lot, but we want to say, if you have any questions about breastfeeding, hand expression, reach out to us. We love to hear from you. Love to answer questions, and it's all evidence-based. It's not just off the fly. Definitely.
And so thank you for tuning in today. I know it's a lot of information.
Come back, tell your moms, tell your grandmas.
Tell
Thursday.
us this was helpful.
Yes, and anybody that you feel like this would benefit, go ahead and tell them about it, and we hope to
see you on
Thursday. Okay, bye.